We have covered a lot of this Alex Jones Joe Rogan beef that has been going on. It's gotten really serious now, okay? And this clip that we're going to be looking at here is pretty crazy, okay? Alex Jones has decided to full on become a slander, not necessarily slander, just trying to destroy the image of Joe Rogan and take his career down. That is legitimately the worst thing that you can do to somebody, is an attempt to ruin their reputation. That is the heaviest hit that you can give to somebody. And I never really understood the concept of someone's reputation being the most valuable thing to them, and that anybody who sort of lies about it is extremely, extremely, bad, and it's just fucked up. But that is what he has decided to succumb to. He is straight up doing character attacks, and he's trying to get his show taken down by doing these smear attacks. And he's uncovered some pretty damning clips that we're going to be looking at. It's pretty crazy. But Alex Jones here is going to go after Joe Rogan, and he's going to uncover some pretty, some pretty problematic clips.
InfoWars is a torch to light the way. There's fear of the leftists and the globalists. You'll be censored if you don't lay down to them. The real fear is laying down and what comes after. All right, I don't want to attack my old friend of 21 years, Joe Rogan. But in the last decade or so, we grew apart. I didn't go to UFC matches, didn't go to most of his comedy shows, didn't hang out with him 4 or 5 times a year like I'd done since 1998. I might see him once a year. He might call me a few times a year. I might call him a few times a year. And then my listeners told me, why are you saying Joe's a good guy? He's having all these globalists on, these CIA people on. He's pushing censorship. And then I got sued for Sandy Hook. Because my listeners questioned the official story. The internet did. I looked at it and said, I could see how folks think it's staged. There's some anomalies. But over the years, I couldn't say definitively. So I said, okay, the shooting happened. They're just using the shooting to demonize all gun owners. And that's wrong. That's not letting a good crisis go to waste, in the words of Rahm Emanuel, Obama's former chief of staff and then Chicago mayor, who's outgoing. But then I began to see him with Jack Dorsey on and promoting Square Cash and not explaining that that's his company or that Joe is being sponsored by it or that they're making Bitcoin the main functioning system of that and not the other cryptocurrencies and seeing a global government and a global currency. So I got critical of Joe about that. And then I got sent this clip of Joe. This has got to be 5, 6 years ago. And I'm not even going to say what's on the tape because corporate media is so deceptive. Established media, they will take what I said and put it out. He said, well, that's their problem. Yeah, man, let me tell you something. I said Hillary was responsible for hundreds of thousands of dead in Libya and the Middle East and tens of thousands of women and children to sex slavery and tortured to death. And Megyn Kelly on Fox edited it in with another tape of me talking about Pizzagate. And it's in a lawsuit, an edited tape. Now, once we get there, that'll be a big issue. But I'm talking about Iraq. I'm talking about Syria. I'm talking about Libya. They edited that in with another tape. It's crazy. So I've just learned that I'm not going to say what Joe said here. I'm going to play what Joe said, and I'm going to make clear I don't endorse this, but I want to be 1,000% clear after that. 1,000,000,000,000%. Joe's a comedian, and Joe is not a racist. And Joe is a very, very private person. But I'm going to unleash this controversy because Joe has to see what it's like when things are cherry-picked. I don't want to get into Joe's private life. But Joe has raised his wife, who's had children with, black children. Joe loves black people. Yeah, and overall, I think he was a very loving person. He doesn't like racists. He doesn't like bullies. I think Joe's been a good person. That's why it's so hurtful. And no one knows that he has adopted black children. Your older jokes about, oh, look at that, with that white woman. Oh, that's funny stuff, man. And I agree, comedy should be comedy. But the left wants to project racism on everything, and you want to cuddle up to it, so feel what it's like, Joe. Here's Joe talking about going to see Planet of the Apes movie, and then he gets in a black neighborhood, Well, just hear it for yourself. Here it is.
There's Planet of the Apes, man. We're going to go see Planet of the Apes. So I look on the iPhone app, and it says, okay, take me to this one. And the guy goes, okay. I go, is that in a good neighborhood? He's like, oh, yeah. Guy barely speaks English. He takes us there. We get out, and we're giggling. Oh, we're going to see Planet of the Apes. We walk into Planet of the Apes. We walked into Africa, dude. We walked in the door, and there was no white people. There was no white people.
Joe Rogan just said black people are apes. Well, I guess born. That's why I hate him. But what do you think went on in the South 25, 27, 30 years ago in Democrats? Of course they dress up like that. That's all they do. One time I got invited to a Halloween party, and I showed up like 10 years ago, and it was all white people dressed up like black people. They said, oh, it's just fun. We're having fun. I said, I'm getting out of here, man. Because I don't want to have some celebration thinking I'm better than somebody. Like if I saw blacks making fun of white people, I'd say you're a bunch of damn racist. I'm sick of it. I believe in Martin Luther King. I believe in what people stand for, what they do is how they're judged. Not off what color they are. And all this anti-white racism crap, I stand against it. But let me tell you, if I said what Joe said, he was all for my deplatforming before. Now that he's under the heat, he's like, well, leave Alex alone. Hey, fine, great, Joe. I'm just letting you know something. That I know you're not a racist. And I know you do comedy because you think it's funny. Your interracial jokes, which are true, like most of the interracial porn gets bought in the South. And funny. What's the in-between size? Mesomorphs, like we got big muscles, we're like, got big torsos, short legs. I mean, there's some black people, like Joe's saying, look like me and look like an ape. There's some that are super tall and don't. The point is there's white people look like that because we are simian. But the point is that you can't sit there and say, I went to a black neighborhood on my iPhone app and I was in Planet of the Apes saying black people are apes. Joe Rogan just said black people are apes, just like Watson, the former head of the Cold Springs Harbor Group, said blacks aren't human, they're apes. Well, if they're apes, then how can we breed with them, Joe? And are you saying your daughter is an ape? Hey, man, it's you up on your sanctimonious high horse here, bro. Quite frankly, I am like an ape. I can pull somebody's head off. I've got ape-like strength. I beat some big old black guys' asses, too, thought they could kick my ass. They found out who the real ape was. I'm King Kong, baby. I'm not ashamed of my simian nature. But you can't sit there and pull crap like that and say crap like that in a glass house and basically, I mean, you heard him. Geez. Snake farm. Just damn nasty. So there you go. Joe Rogan says black people look like apes and black neighborhoods are Planet of the Apes. You heard it. You know, species means you can have sex with somebody and you have a baby who can then have babies. You can have a horse and a mule. They can have sex, they can't have babies. You can have a horse and a donkey have sex, and they have a mule. It's a hybrid. The species are so close, but it can't have a baby. So I'm going to tag this on. We post this to Infowars.com, the last Joe Rogan video. I don't take pleasure in going after Joe Rogan, but he wants to sit up there and sanctimoniously say that Nazi collaborator George Soros was a victim of the Nazis when he went on 60 Minutes at NPR and said it was happy-making, best time of his life, exhilarating. These are quotes, Joe. He's funding the Nazi EU. And then, let's play the clip again. He says 6, 7 years ago on his Apple app, he's going to see Planet of the Apes. It directs him to this good neighborhood. So it's very elitist, too. Like, oh, I want a good neighborhood. It says it's a good place. And I go, and it's black people, and it's Planet of the Apes. Well, if you think about apes, you've got apes with pink skin, brown skin, black skin. They're not humans. And those ape species can't make babies together. We're our own amazing species. And the genetics of a white person versus a black person aren't even 1% different. And my issue is, doesn't matter. Asians, on average, can't process alcohol. Asians have different structures of their spine. Humans are different. We are diverging species, but we're still the same species. And I'm not some virtue signaler here who's guilty to be white. Being a Northern European, I am endowed, on average, with the highest IQ of any group of people on the planet. Now, that doesn't mean on a curve, Dr. McCam shot, please. You know, on these bell curves they do. That doesn't mean that on average, white people, or Japanese are right up there, have the highest IQ. It doesn't mean there aren't black people that are up there too. It means on average, there are more Japanese and more whites that are on that curve. And people can say, well, or Russians or whoever you want to say. You can sit there and say, well, that's the test. It doesn't matter. Where are people making spaceships and computers? It's in the West. But that isn't meaning then we hate black people, because there are black people statistically that are as smart as anybody on the planet. It means on average, whites have the highest IQ. On average. Well, you better have an IQ if you were spending hundreds of thousands of years in frozen wasteland at the top of the planet, because if you went to bed, if you got back in your cave 10 minutes too late, you were deader than a doornail. In Africa and other areas in the equatorial regions, it was about how strong you were, how fast you were.
What are you?
Dad's black, mom's white. Standard issue, pretty much.
Powerful combination genetic-wise, right? You get the body of the black man, and then you get the mind of the white man all together in some strange combination. That doesn't, by the way, mean that black people don't have brains. It's a different brain. Don't get me wrong.
Wow, dude, that was pretty crazy, man. That was really, really hard to see. So, and I also threw in there another clip that Alex Jones didn't show, but rather that I found online, of Joe Rogan talking about how there's the combination between a black and a white person in terms of having a kid, and you get the black man's body and then you get the white person's brain. Dude, what are you saying, bro? And it's so obvious that Joe has a problematic past with this. I'm really not sure what kind of went down or what his thought process was back then, but certainly those statements are problematic, because what that implies about the white brain is, what that implies about that situation, first of all, is the black body is genetically, superior, I guess, to white people, as well as the inverse is true, is that, white people have better brains than black people. That's what that's saying, which is pretty fucking insane, okay? And then the one that Alex Jones showed is him basically calling black people apes is what he did. He's talking about, I guess what he was saying was he's telling a story of him and his friend going to see Planet of the Apes, the movie, which I've never seen before, by the way, but it sounds very self-explanatory. But he says that, he went into a fully black neighborhood, and he's saying we went into Planet of the Apes. Holy fuck, dude. That is some cringy stuff, okay? That is really, really problematic. And I think there's like a lengthier clip where he, a couple seconds later, goes, oh, no, I know that was a messed up thing for me to say, and he walks it back. But it's like, dude, first of all, you still said that, and then the fact that there's the other clip that I showed you guys of him just saying outright that, like, that combination and the heavy implication that a white person's brain is better and, more desirable than a black person's brain. With that combined, there's no, like, you don't have any wiggle room anymore. That's a messed up thing, okay? Those are messed up, problematic comments. Now, I don't know what year those are from, but obviously, as you can tell from the video clips, they're very old. So, do I think that Joe Rogan's career should be railroaded for this and just ended? No, I don't think so. I don't know if he's going to respond to these allegations or not. He's definitely seen them. I mean, we definitely know. Joe Rogan's got his pulse on the internet, bro. He knows what's going down, okay? He knows what's going on the internet. He especially knows what Alex Jones is saying and what he's saying about him. So, I don't know if he's going to end up responding to this, but those are some problematic comments, but they're from a long time ago, so he has a little bit of leeway there. But, I mean, dude, those are some really fucked up comments you're making, first of all. I mean, basically saying that, making a joke about being in a fully black neighborhood is I was in the Planet of the Apes, like in the movie. That's pretty fucking problematic. And then the worst one, in my opinion, is where you say that, the combination between the black man and white woman, because you get the black body and then the white brain. Oof, man, that is a hot take of hot takes. Okay, that's insane. Fuck hot take. It's just a fucked up thing, right? The heavy implication there is you get the black body, which is better than the white body, and then you get the white brain, which is better than the black brain, and both of those are problematic for obvious reasons. It's claiming superiority, which is pretty fucking insane, dude. So he does seem to have a dark past, but should that railroad his career now? I don't think so, but the question I have is, should he come out and apologize for those? Probably. I mean, I'd like an explanation as to why you think that. I mean, I'd feel pretty awkward if I were a black guest coming on your show, if I'm, somebody who's black and I'm coming on your podcast. That's sort of problematic to me, bro. Like, do you think that, white people's brains are better than black people's brains? Because that's kind of what you're implying there, G. But I have to say that, and by the way, Alex Jones's explanation of this shit is so weird, because I literally just watched a clip of Alex Jones saying, I believe in MLK, Okay, bro, let's keep it real, dog. You don't care about MLK. None of that shit matters to you. This is all a means to an end of yours, and that end is trying to really railroad Joe Rogan's career because you feel that that's the appropriate response to, whatever Joe Rogan said about you. And this is the deepest blow that he could take because, this is legitimately, when it comes to a beef between, let's say, like two, YouTubers or whatever the hell you want to call them at this point. Joe Rogan's a podcaster. Alex Jones is sort of a content creator in exile at this point. But when you start going down to reputational attacks, that is the lowest of the low that you can go to, because you're now not even doing like personal attacks necessarily of like, oh, Joe Rogan's a bitch or he's a pussy or something like that. You're not even doing that no more. You're like, hey, look at this video clip. Tell all your sponsors, YouTube and all this, and, they need to figure it out. And you're damaging someone's reputation in this type of a game is very serious. And I was not aware of that, and I didn't really fully comprehend that until recently. But this is some serious things that are being levied against him, man. But Alex is coming for Joe Rogan's career at this point. This is the harshest you can go. This is, the nukes that we're talking about. But Alex Jones, all of his explanations, he just don't pretend, like, don't be under the delusion that he actually cares about, police brutality or the issues that face minority communities today. Obviously, he doesn't care. I think he called Michelle Obama like the first tranny or something like that. Like, he's a piece of garbage, and we all know that, right? And the idea that he's like big on MLK, or he's an avid fighter against, the discrimination and all the bad things happening and that have happened to the African American community. Fuck no. Don't be stupid. I don't think you guys are that dumb to think that anyways, but just to make it clear, he doesn't care about any of that. His means is, I'm going to show these darn clips to give karma and hit back and try to clap back at Joe Rogan for what he did to me, which is, according to Alex Jones, he, was reading George Soros' talking points or whatever the hell he was trying to say. So, anyways, those comments are very problematic made by Joe Rogan. But anyways, let me know your thoughts on this whole thing. This is kind of a lot to talk about. There's a lot of points here. There's one thing about what about Joe Rogan, what are the things that he should do and what the response from the people should be. These comments have not gotten big traction on the internet. They have slight pockets of traction, but truthfully it hasn't really garnered that much steam, and I don't know if it will or not. I'm surprised it hasn't yet, but certainly problematic comments. But let me know your thoughts on everything that's going on here.